Welcome back here with a new video. And as you remember, in our last video we have created this particular disk using iSCSI. After this we have to configure all this iSCSI disk in our SQL Server machines. Let's proceed further on how to do this particular steps. And as I told, this particular article link will be there in description. You can just visit and you can configure from there as well. Okay, so if you look at this document, we have to do couple of settings here, and please make sure that whenever you are trying to use this particular configuration, or from here, what you have to do is make sure you first disable the firewall. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to open Windows Defender Firewall. So you should do this settings in all your Windows Server machines. Okay, in my case, I have 3 SQL machine and domain controller, so I will be going to do in our all 4 machines. So currently this interface is different. Let me go back to my domain controller. I mean to say the Windows Server interface is different when compared to this. And let me open Windows Firewall. Sorry about that. And here, as you can see, you have to click on Windows Defender Firewall and setting, and you should make sure that you should turn it off. Okay, this, and then private profile, turn it off, and then public profile. So all these 3 tabs you have to make it off for all your machines. Okay, and then you can come here and start this particular video. Otherwise, what will happen is you will not be able to connect and there will be some kind of blockage. Okay, let's proceed further. So this is my domain controller. We have configured the iSCSI target disk from here. As you can see, quorum, data, log, and temp. Now what we have to do, let me minimize this, and we should make sure that whatever configuration you are going to do from now, it should be done in one particular machine. Okay, you have to not configure at a time in all the machines. You should just focus on one particular machine. And let me minimize all these things so that you should not get any sort of confusion. SQL B, I will get started with my SQL A, or SQL V. Either ways, you can just focus on one particular machine. And what you have to do is you have to type iSCSI initiator. As you can see, it will be installed by default. And here, as you can see, already I have tried to connect. That is the reason it is there. In your case, it will be empty. So what you have to do is you have to put the IP of the domain controller or the shared disk server. In my case, that is my domain controller. That is the reason I'm going to put my domain controller IP here. Okay, as you can see this, and I'll hit quick connect. So as soon as I do, you can see that immediately it got connected, and I will hit OK. And after that, you have to click volume and device. You have to click auto configure. And once you do that, all the 4 drives which we created will be present here. Okay, now this is all you have to do here. And you should, at the bottom, you should hit OK. Probably it is not visible. Let me maximize this. As you can see, hit OK. Once this part is done, okay, let me minimize this to avoid any sort of confusion for you. Okay, and what you have to do from here is you have to open disk, look for disk, and you can see that create and format hard disk partitions. Okay, once you click this, and let me maximize this. As you can see, all the 4 drives are visible here. If I scroll down a bit, currently it is in offline state. We'll do it, make it online, and I will show you how to do this. So as you can see, we have configured 5 GB, 20 GB, 10 GB, 10 GB. So all these 4 disks, you have to make it online first, one by one, online, and then online, and then online. Most of the time, what will happen is as soon as you open this particular disk management, it will automatically ask you. But most of the scenario, it doesn't. So you have to do it by this way. Okay. Let's, once it is online, not initialized, let me initialize the disk. As you can see, all the 4 disks are there. 4 disks are present here. I will do GPT partition, and it will move to GPT. The partition will format in GPT. Okay, and once this is done, as you can see, it is online, online, online. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to create new sample disk from this. So what I will do is I'll just right click, new sample volume. I will hit next, and I'm not going to make any changes here. So our first disk is, if I'm not wrong, it is 5 GB. Okay, so this is our quorum disk. So I'll just label this particular as Q. Please make note that whatever assignment you are going to give here, whatever drive letter you are going to assign here, you should make sure that you remember that, because in other VMs also we should do the same thing. Okay, by default it will configure, but you have to change this drive letter. That is the reason, as you told, as I have created 5 GB of quorum disk, so I have mentioned this Q. You can mention any other label as well, but make sure that you remember because we have to do in our other VMs as well. In my case, I'm just going Q and I'll hit next. So I'll just rename this to quorum disk and make sure the file system is NTFS. By default it will be, but what you have to do is the main thing which you have to focus here is allocation of unit size, which should be 64K as per the Microsoft documentation. I will put the documentation in the description as well, or you can just visit my site as you can see here. So 64K as per Microsoft documentation, you can check this out. And let me go back to the configuration here. And as you can see, everything is pretty good. Perform a quick installation and hit finish. Okay, our first part is done here. That is for our quorum disk. We have created quorum disk as queue. Now the second one is our data disk. We'll create new sample volume. We'll leave it default. And for data disk, I will just put D. And in my case, I don't have any drive with D. Probably I'm not sure. I have to check that. If I have, then I have to mention something else here. I don't have D, so what I will do is maybe it is by default allocated to some other thing. Okay, so what I will do is I will put here K, sorry, K, and once this is done, I will make this as, so this is our data disk. So as I told, unit allocation should be 64K and perform quick installation, data disk, and this is this installation has been completed. Data disk as K. Now the third is our, it is temp or log. So I'll just hit next. And here in our case, I'm going to put it as log, this one. So I'll put L, and this is our log disk. So let me give a label to this, as you can see. And as I told, unit allocation should be 64. This part is done and hit OK and finish. So we have all the three drives ready here: quorum, data disk, and log disk. And the last one left out is our temp drive. Let me create that as well. So it is temp, hit next, and as I told, it is temp disk, sorry about that. Okay, 10 disk, and then again location is 64K, 10 disk, hit next and finish. Now we have all the four drives ready, and as you can see, when I go to my file explorer and hit this PC, as you can see, all these drives are visible here. Okay, now as I told, we have to make this disk available in other three machines as well. I have did just for one particular machine. You have to do for other SQL machines which are going to be part of failover cluster. In my case, I have three VMs. I have done for SQL A. I'm going to do for other VMs as well. So what you have to do is first, once this disk is configured, you have to remember all this disk label and name and everything. By default, it will be there, but the quorum disk Q and K, L and T, you should remember this because we are going to make it online there, and we are going to change this because by default it will allocate to some other. I mean to say the letter will get allocated differently. Okay, I will show you that. So I think so quorum is Q, L is and T, everything is kind. For data disk, I'm using K. Once this is done, what you have to do is you have to make this particular disk as offline for all the four disks. Let me make it offline. And once this is offline, all the four disks are offline, as you can see. And when I go to my this PC, I can't see that all those four disks. So once this is done, what you have to do is you have to minimize this particular machine SQL way, and you have to go to your other machines as I told. So I did for SQL A. Now I will be doing for SQL B. So I will look for iSCSI initiator, open this. Okay, now let me start this particular iSCSI initiator. By default it was stopped, and I'm not sure why. And let me put the IP of my server. I mean to say the domain controller where my the drives are stored, from where the drives are coming, and hit OK, and it is connected. Hit done. Favorite target. Sorry about that. Initial auto configure. Then I think so we should maximize this. Hit OK. And then let me minimize this and look for disk management, create or format hard disk. So as a similar way which we did, which I did in SQL A, nothing different. And once I expand this, as you can see, the same disk are present here as well. A, B, and C. Let me drag this column, and as you can see, all these four drives are there. Now here you have to do the same thing. You have to make it online, online. Here you have to make it online. Here you have to make it online. Here you have to make it online. Okay. So as you can see, what I was telling is the label is correct. The naming conventions are correct, but the letters are getting changed. So as I told, we have to make it same as our previous SQL configuration what we did. Okay, so this thing should be repeated in all your SQL FCI cluster machines. So change driver letter, I will change to, I know this is my quorum days, so I'll put it Q, and everything is pretty good. Okay, some program they are related to drive letter must not be correctly. Do you want to continue? Yep. So I'll put it Q, and this was our data. So if I'm not wrong, this I make it to K, and then our last is G. So this was our log drive. Let me change it to L. When this is done, okay, hit continue, and the last one is our temp drive. Okay, so we have configured in our second VM as well, Q, K, L, and temp. Now this part is done. Let's make sure that it is present in my this machine. So as you can see, K, Q, L, and temp, all four drives are available here. Now let me make this offline and do the same configuration in my other machines as well. The remaining which I have is my third VM. Let me do for that as well. So this part is done, and minimize, it is offline. Let me minimize SQLB, and the last machine is my SQL FCI. Let me open iSCSI initiator, and again the same thing. Okay, 20.1 connect, it is connected. And favorite, sorry, volumes and drive, auto configure. And then let me maximize this, let me hit OK. Then disk management, create and format partitions. Then again, if I expand this and scroll a bit up, you can find all the drives here as well. Now same thing you have to repeat here, make it online. And once this is done, so as I told, we have to change the letter path already. So this is quorum, so I'll put it at Q. We are pretty good. We have done all our configuration, and we have mounted all this disk here. And if I go to my this PC and check configuration about this, we have all the disk ready here. Okay, so this is all you have to do to make the disk available in all the three machines. You have to just make sure that this particular naming convention, as you can see, this C drive and L drive should be same in all our in all across our SQL failover cluster VMs. So this part is done, and we'll meet in next upcoming videos of our SQL failover cluster. So after this, we are going to install Windows failover cluster, and we'll do certain configuration and settings, and then we'll make this all four drives part of that Windows failover cluster, and then we'll proceed further with our SQL failover cluster installation. Okay, so the video is getting a bit long, but as I told, these are the prerequisites to configure SQL failover cluster. That is the reason we have to, these are the mandatory steps which we have to do. So as I told, you can visit our article. I have shown there as well how to configure and how to do this, all these things. So let me check my next disk here. So as I told, we have to configure this disk in Windows failover cluster, which we are going to see in our next article, which is Windows failover cluster configure for VM, and we are going to test all these things. Okay, so we'll see you in next upcoming videos. Meanwhile, you can just check out this document if you want to do it. Also, if you have any suggestions or comment, please feel free to post below so that I can take it forward. See you guys in next upcoming videos of our SQL failover cluster series.